first of all, I love you.
I love you.
And, like, the fact that you're sitting down and giving us a little bit of time is making me a little emotional.
Oh my God, of course, of course, of course. I love you. I had the best time with you in Pittsburgh.
Okay, so we're gonna do our like specifically formal introduction now. So sit
Okay.
back, and I'm sure we're gonna miss 1,000 of your credits, but sit back while we
Oh, it's
introduce
fine.
the one, the only IZZY
McCALLA.
Woo! She has. We met in 2014. I believe that's the correct date. And some of her endless list of credits include.
My gosh, she originated the role of Jasmine on the Broadway tour of Aladdin.
Yes. She was on, in no specific order, on the television show Bull. That's my mother's favorite show, so we have to do it.
It's
Go.
amazing.
She's performed at the Kennedy Center and the La Jolla Playhouse,
Not-
among other numerous
regional theaters, endless regional theaters. She is probably best known for starring in The Prom as Alyssa Green.
And she made her Broadway debut as Jasmine in Aladdin in 2018.
She went to the University of Michigan. I know, you all say, go blue.
Yeah, we
She
do.
was born in Queens, New York, right?
Yes, exactly. Whoa.
She's a full-on superstar. And IZZY McCALLA.
Thank you. Wow, that introduction. That was like the best introduction I've ever gotten. Thank you.
That was like the cliff notes of your very long resume. Okay.
Cliff Notes is better.
I'm obsessed with you.
The Felix
I need to
Mutual.
put that out there in the beginning. Because in my heart, my memory of you is nothing but pure joy.
Oh, I'm glad.
And also silliness. To be honest, I remember you being one of the funniest people I've ever had the pleasure of working with.
That's coming from you. You are the one of the funniest women I've ever met. People in general.
When your career exploded, I like joy, pure joy for you, because you are truly one of the funniest and kindest people that I've had the nice little intersection in my life to work with.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so we're going to jump into questions. Go ahead.
Okay, mine is kind of twofold. How are you
Great.
doing right now, and where are you calling us from?
Amazing. I am calling in from actually my parents' house in Rockland County, New York, which is like 45 minutes north of the city. And I am doing pretty okay. Every day is different, but like relatively well considering that we are still in the midst of a pandemic and everybody has been, or many people have been unemployed for a year, and we just passed the year mark of Broadway shutting down and theaters all across the country shutting down. So I personally, as a human, Isabel, I feel great. My heart aches for our industry. But I have faith that we'll get back to it, and I'm excited to be here. But every day is different. I think this more than anything has shown me just how to take things day by day, because that's literally all we can do to stay sane. So I'm trying to do that. Lots of yoga.
In the midst of when COVID hit, like what were you?
Yeah. I was doing a show called Fly at the La Jolla Playhouse, which is a modern retelling of Peter Pan. So I was playing a Tink the fairy, and it was like punk rock Tinkerbell, which was I flew the entire time. It was great. But we had just opened on March 8th, and then we shut down on March 12th with everybody else. So yeah, I was in San Diego when the shutdown happened, and then I stayed in San Diego until August. So I was there for a long time. A lot of us stayed. La Jolla Playhouse was phenomenal and housed many of us unemployed and starving artists. So it was such a blessing. I'm forever grateful to them for that.
That's amazing. Okay, so like we have all these different questions, but my mind is spinning with you. So what was flying like? Had you flown before?
No, I had never flown in anything before it. It was absolutely wild. I got like calluses on my hips from the rigging. It was fine, and you had to put like neoprene, which is basically like a foam padding everywhere. But it was thrilling. Like I loved it. I loved dropping from the sky, and we had the most amazing flight choreographer. Um, and yeah, I got to create my own brand of physical comedy in the air, which was really cool. And I would just like fly from set piece to set piece and suspend myself on door frames, which was really fun. And on the way to looking graceful, I would say, was a lot of flops. There are so many videos of me just like swinging my legs over some set pieces and falling flat on. Like there was one I'll just tell you a little story. There was one move I had to do in the opening scene in Wendy's bedroom where I would drop down from the rafters because you get loaded up in the fly space above, which is crazy. And you drop down. And there was one point when I was supposed to sit on the bed, and then I would get flown up, and then I would sink down behind the bed in a dramatic fashion and do a little wave thing. But if I didn't sit correctly if I wasn't right on my line, on my plumb line where the flying gear was, and if I leaned too far forward, they would yank me, and then I would start swinging. So this happened one time. So I start swinging, and I know this descent down behind the bed is coming up. So I'm trying to manipulate it in a way where like I try to steady myself. I try to like elongate the line so I'm on the backside of it as everything goes down, but I don't time it well enough. So what ends up happening is as the descent happens, it's all automated. So they press a button and I just go. So I start going down, and as I go down, I'm going forward. So my feet hit or actually my legs hit the bed frame, and I flop onto the bed face flat. But it kind of worked with the scene because the line I had was memories are heavy, they weigh you down. And so instead of doing a slow dramatic descent, I went memories are heavy, they weigh you down, boom, and just like splattered on the bed. And I just stayed there, and I was like, I'm gonna use it, I'm gonna make this be dramatic. And let me tell you, we got the biggest laugh from the audience. So it was intentional, people.
Because you're really funny. And when I was prepping for this interview, I read the story about you as Jasmine.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And as I was reading it, I could totally hear you doing. Can you please tell that story quickly?
Yeah, absolutely.
She's a goofball. Like, she's kind of a goofball.
The most, yeah.
And
I play very put together characters, but I'm the hottest mess of a human.
She is so funny. Quickly tell this other story that you turned a ridiculous. This is a good thing. So we share these with our students. Obviously,
yeah.
Okay. And one thing is about that we're always talking about is keep going, right? Keep going. Keep
Right.
going.
Yeah.
But like the fact that you turned that insane moment with the flying into like #fail. It was
Literally.
It was probably the director was probably like, I need to keep that in.
Maybe I was like, did I just create a new bit? Well, either way, I created a great failsafe for the track, which is good. I love those moments when things go wrong. But the Aladdin story, what happened was in that scene, all of the set pieces are automated in that show as well, and the buildings in the marketplace turn and come together to build Aladdin's rooftop. And on the other side, there are staircases that runs up. So the platform of Aladdin's rooftop is probably 5 feet off of the stage, the deck. So this one show, what happens is after the marketplace, we're getting chased by the guards. So we run off stage and then run right back on as the buildings come together onto Aladdin's rooftop. And I ran up as usual, and he runs in front of me, and I'm supposed to stay on the staircase and basically like peer around the side of the building. And I'm supposed to peer around the side of the building and step 1 foot down the stairs. And I'm supposed to say, are you positive we really lost them? So I say the line, but instead of stepping down, I step off, and I just fall onto the deck in this like long robe, right? So I can't get my footing correctly. I'm tripping, but I didn't stop speaking. So basically I went, are you positive we really lost them? And then I like climb. I literally, apparently the sound engineer told me, he was watching from the back of the house. He said that I crawled up and then like held on to the building for dear life. Like if you've seen Emperor's New Groove, it's like Krog, like like that's exactly what I was doing, and I was just like, and I gasped. Adam Jacobs, who was Aladdin, gasped. The audience gasped. And then I started laughing. So then it gave them permission to start laughing. And I think we all just like erupted in laughter for a good minute. It was just like a minute of laughter. I was like crying. It was so funny. And then Adam finally says,
This is
"Are you okay?" And so my response was, "You got some slippery stairs there." And the audience laughed, we all laughed, and I went back up on stage and we continued the scene. But I fully said it like not as Jasmine. I mean, I was trying to be like, what would Jasmine say? And I was like, "You got some slippery stairs there."
I loved that.
Oh yeah.
And for me, I mean, I've done extended runs, but the longest run I've ever done is a year. But when you're in those long runs, it's dual moments like that
Yeah.
that are they're so amazing. I read that
Yeah.
story and I could just see you, and I just started cracking up. Did we work together? Were you part of the? I feel like you were. Did you do Wedding Singer?
No, I didn't. I was the same summer, but I left before Wedding Singer happened.
There was the crew moved Jeff Howe. I don't know if you remember Jeff Howe.
Oh, I love Jeff Howell. Yes.
Shout out
Jeff Howe. We love him.
Yeah.
They moved him off he was on the set and waiting to go on stage, just on his little trolley, and they moved him out onto the stage like a whole scene early. And then he just kept going, and they just wheeled him off. But it's like it's things like that you just love. You just remember. You love.
Oh, yeah. It's like that's the beauty of live theater, right? Like you can edit mistakes like that out of a movie, but in a performance, it's such a special, beautiful moment. And I think like the more that we can have fun with that and not take ourselves seriously, the better. It's
so
amazing.
When you worked at the CLO, were you still a student at?
I was.
Because
yeah.
here's my memory of you. First of all, I think your brain might be unusually large. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, you had learned the choreography and were helping teach the choreography for Singing in the Rain?
Yeah, that was it.
Is that the show?
Yeah, it was Singing in the Rain. It was Singing in the Rain. Linda Goodrich was the director, and I was her associate choreographer, dance captain.
And I was like, in my head, I was like, how is she remembering all of this? You were unbelievable.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that because I had the biggest imposter syndrome, and I was like, how excuse my language, like, how am I going to get through? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, that was what, like, the devil on my shoulder was saying to me. But, like, somehow I managed to get done, and it's one of those situations where you just like sink or swim, right? You're thrown into the deep end. You just got to go. You have 5 days to put up microwave theater, so you just better do it. There's no excuse.
Do it. How did you learn all that prep, that choreography? Because coming in for such it's a great thing, microwave theater. Coming in for such a quick rehearsal process, we rehearse it and we have it up in 3 days.
Yeah.
But for our students and young artists watching, what was your homework for that? Because honestly, I mean, Singing in the Rain is not a little show.
No, especially that you have the Dream Ballet in the second act, which is a monster. It's about 7 minutes long. Luckily, because Linda Goodrich, the director, was my professor at school, I had some prep time with her. Good. So I think we did a month before, or a week before. I worked with her on some of the choreography, and we did pre-pro for it. So, and I had a video of her past productions that I was able to study, and I came a little bit early, and she worked me through what numbers and this is what you're going to teach while I'm doing this, and she is so organized. Literally
shout out to her because she was one of the best directors I've ever worked with.
Oh, she's brilliant. I'm like, this woman needs a Broadway show. Give her a Broadway show. She's amazing. If Singing in the Rain comes to Broadway, she needs to do it. Yeah, but yeah, she's just an incredible director, and she delegates very well. So it was helpful to have her clear vision and direction, in that I could execute it a little bit easier because of her.
Well, that's amazing. To be still a student, take on that responsibility, and you're in all the shows.
Yeah,
So there's
wild.
that it just blew me away. It blew me away how big your brain was. It's just like amazing. So,
Thanks. I feel like I've definitely lost brain cells since then. But
all right, you're up. Right here.
So tell us, because not everybody gets to experience this.
mhm.
What was it like when you debuted on Broadway? How did it feel?
Well, because you've had like two big moments, like originating a role on tour and then going to
Mhm.
Broadway with Jasmine. That's
Mhm.
huge.
Yeah, it was wild. Oh man, it was everything I wanted it to be. It was magic. It was, I mean, actually, the night of, I was totally scatterbrained because we were doing, the reason I made my Broadway debut was because I was doing the prom lab, the pre-production lab at the time, during the day, and then playing Jasmine at night. So I had a rehearsal 10 to 6, and then I actually, no, the day of my Broadway debut I didn't have rehearsal. Casey Nicola, our incredible director, excused me from rehearsal that day, so I was able to just focus on Aladdin. But the New Amsterdam Theater, the people who work there are the kindest human. It's one of, like, its reputation on Broadway is like it's the nicest building in Broadway. That everybody who works, especially on that show at Aladdin, it's just good people, lots of love, and support, and the crew members are fantastic. So I felt really supported the day of. It was really bizarre because I had come from the tour when everything was just slightly different. So I had to remember these, like, really subtle changes in the script and blocking. So I guess in a way it made everything really fresh and new, but in another way I was just like, oh, just fully dazed, no idea what was going on. But I will say, the moment I did a whole new world, and I was up on the carpet and I looked out into the house of the New Am, and I was like, I'm making my Broadway debut, singing one of my favorite songs of all time, to a packed house. Like, that was just
How did that audition?
everything.
How did that come about? How many times did you audition? Please tell me you just walked in the room and they were like, "Yes." Please tell me that's what happened.
Certainly not. Certainly not. It is a weird audition story. Um, it, I got it through, like, investment. That's what I say. So basically, what happened was, to tell how I got Aladdin, I have to go back even further, because my first audition out of school was for the workshop of the prom in the ensemble. And before the final callback of that show, I sprained my ankle. So I wasn't allowed to dance, but I could go in and sing for Casey Nicola. So I went in and I sang and I read, and I didn't get it because I couldn't dance and I had a sprained ankle. Um, then I did like a year of West Side Stories and regionally, and worked regionally. And then I got a call. Oh, and that summer before I left for those jobs, I went in for him again for Aladdin for an ensemble replacement and didn't get it. And then I went in him for again for Tuck Everlasting for an ensemble track. And I got to final callbacks again, but I didn't replace it. But I remember at that audition, he was like, "Hey, you've gotten better. Like, it's so good to see you again." And so I was like, "Oh, he remembered me. That's crazy."
There is. Wait. I gotta pause you because there is. What's the quote?
What?
The quote
Oh,
about
there's no such thing as a wasted good audition.
Yes.
you banked it, and I love that you said that. You banked.
I also thank you for saying that, because I needed to hear that today. There's something that, like, this business gets finicky, and you audition and you audition and you audition and you get really good feedback, but it just doesn't go your way sometimes, and that's okay. But like you said, there's nothing bad with a really good
Go
audition.
ahead.
So
Write it down. Write it down.
yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. Wait, what did you say exactly? Because it was so good.
No such thing as a wasted good audition.
There's no such thing as a. I'm literally
We
writing it
can't
down.
take credit for this because the theater community is so small. We
Right.
we interviewed our friend Janet and Doug, and
Amazing.
it's a long, convoluted story, but they're the ones who sort of brought that into our life. But it's true that whole
Yeah.
It's like banking. Yeah, and when you say he came to you, he's like, "Oh my God, you got better." That's amazing.
And I was like, who, what is my life that this Tony Award winning director is saying, okay, cool. Didn't get that job though, right? So I didn't get that job, went off and did some West Side Stories regionally. And then I got a call saying that Casey wanted me to join um, the out of town tryout company of the prom in Atlanta. I didn't audition for it. I was like, what? And they were like, yeah, he remembers you from all those other auditions and they wanted you originally, but you sprained your ankle, so you couldn't do it. So I got to go to Atlanta and do the show there. And I think before that too, I think like in that year prior, I had sent in tapes for the Australian production of Aladdin twice and never got like a call back from it. But um then while we were there doing previews, they were casting the national tour of Aladdin. So after a preview one night, Casey came up to me and said, actually, his husband, apparently Josh Marquette, his husband, told me that it was his idea to tell Casey. He was like, "Oh yeah, she should be in Aladdin." So credit to Josh Marquette too. Um, Casey came up to me and said, "Hey, you could be in Aladdin. If just in case we're not sure what the timeline is for prom, would you audition and for the national tour and like maybe you could understudy Jasmine?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely. Sounds amazing. Sounds like a dream." So because we were in Atlanta, he was like, "Let's just set up an informal audition so I can tell casting that I've seen you." So it was like a Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. and I was me, Casey Nicola, our associate music director Meg Zervulis, and my friend Kevin Solak, who was my reader. And I went in and I sang Palace Waltz for him. And he stopped me and he was like, "Cool. So I think you could actually play Jasmine. Would you be down to come to New York for callbacks in like 10 days?" And I short circuited and I was like, yeah, sure. Like I was like, yeah, of course, Casey. And then we did the scene and he gave me a bunch of notes and a lot of things to work on. And I did. And then I lived like a nun for those 10 days. And I just practiced and I practiced and I practiced. And I flew to New York on our day off on a Monday morning at 6:30. And I was definitely coming down with a cold. I warmed up and I went into I had a work session earlier that day with one of the a couple of associates, the music director and associate director. And then I had another audition actually uptown. It was the worst audition I've ever, for something else, worst audition I've ever given in my life. Like totally not on book. Every pages were out of order, dropped it, forgot words to the song. Like I have never had it was the worst audition I've ever given. And then went back downtown to Pearl Studios and gave the best audition I've ever given.
Yeah.
And like felt so great and felt that like my goal was to walk in and be like, you know what, even if I don't get this now, to prove that I can do it. And I left feeling really positive and happy. And then I was out at a bar with my friend that night and got a call from Casey himself. And he told me that I was going to be Jasmine in Aladdin. And I just started like weeping on the streets. Yeah, and that's the long-winded version of how I got
No,
to
it's
be Jasmine.
magical. I was on the edge of my
Yeah.
seat for the entire story. And you know what?
Yeah.
You deserved it.
Thanks.
Not only because you're amazing and you have a huge brain, but you're incredibly, incredibly talented and so like just joy comes flooding out of you. So there is
Thank
no
you.
question that you would get the job.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That means a lot.
That's fantastic. Now,
Yes.
the, you're at the meantime, so you're doing so okay, so you do the tour and then
Yeah.
you get plucked to go into the Broadway company.
Yeah.
So what was that like? I mean, obviously
Wild.
wild.
Yeah. Absolutely insane. So I did 5 weeks on Broadway. So I did 4 weeks, and 4 weeks was double duty, like I said. So I did 10 to 6 during the day doing prom, and then I would go to the New Amsterdam Theater and sleep for an hour before I had to get ready for the show.
You're in the ensemble at this point, or you're playing?
No, I'm playing Jasmine.
No, you're playing Jasmine.
Wait. Oh, in the prom. Oh, in the prom. Got it. Yeah, in the prom. Okay, so what happened there was I did the national tour for about 9 months, and then not 9 months, 6 months, and then in September of 2017, I got a text in the morning from Casey Nicola that was like, "Hey, give me a call when you wake up. You're not in trouble. Just wanted to talk to you about something." And I'm like, "Oh, what's going on?" And I call him, and he tells me that they're making some casting changes and they want to take the story in a different direction. And would I be interested in playing Alyssa Green?
What?
And it was another moment where I was just like, what is my life? What is happening? He's like, great, but we don't want to like do the workshop without you because we want to build a character on you. So would you be down to go to New York and make your Broadway debut as Jasmine and then do Alyssa during the day? And it was just like,
My brain! I am like, this is, that is unfreaking believable.
stupid. It was stupid. And I say this story like it because it is stupid, because it doesn't happen. And I understand how lucky I am and how rare this story is. And parts don't usually just like come, but I was lucky enough to have a director that saw potential in me and saw my work ethic and my drive, and trusted that I would get there, that I would show up and do the work. And so I feel so extraordinarily lucky. Yeah, but that's why I was like, I was in New York making my Broadway debut, doing a workshop of a new show, and trying to just stay afloat. I mean, you kind of have to be on autopilot when you're doing that much work at that time. So I lived like a nun and just tried my best. That's pretty much all I can say about it. It kind of was such a blur because it was so crazy.
And
But yeah.
when you were in the prom, so there's this like weird intersection of like Pittsburgh. So first of all, in Aladdin is another Pittsburgher, Bobby Pesca. He's insane. And then
so good.
in the prom, we have a mutual obsession with Beth Level.
Yeah, we have a mutual obsession. Yes, that would be bonded over that.
Yeah, so Beth Level is kind of like everything I want to be in life. Like she was in Pittsburgh doing a reading of a new show, and then she left. And then our worlds like virtually collided for a minute because the CLO did this like interview format, and the two guests were me and Beth Level, and I was like,
yeah!
I never got to be on screen with her, so I was like, well, it was like two shows tonight, but she is amazing, and you are amazing, and I'm so glad it all worked out.
Oh, thanks. It's a whirlwind for sure.
Oh, that was my Beth Level story.
Oh, that's the Beth Level story.
Yeah, that like we all. He's so disappointed.
Yeah, she wrote it down. Beth Level story.
Well, because
I was like, are you going to tell the story?
Well, we almost were on the same show, but because it was virtual,
right,
we weren't on camera together. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Your turn. Sorry.
Oh, my next one. Okay. We want to know. It was a big deal. We were looking forward to it coming out at the end of the year. Did you see the movie?
I did see the movie.
And why weren't you in it?
And why weren't you in it?
That answer is way above my pay grade. I did see the movie. I think it's lovely. I think it's Ryan Murphy's version of The Prom, and I think it's helped a lot of young kids, and it's its own entity and being, and I think it's got a lot of heart and pizzazz to it. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's lovely.
Well, our opinion, it should have just been the Broadway cast lifted up and filmed. That's our opinion.
I wouldn't have minded that. That would have been fun. But the thing, yeah, I would have loved if we had the ability to do a digital capture of the show on Broadway. I think that would have been really special. But it's a business. It's It 100%
is. How are you? Okay, so one of the things that I really admire when I reached out to you, one of the things I admire about you is you're such an open advocate. You're an advocate for women. You're an advocate for equal rights. You're an advocate for BLM. You're an advocate for LGBTQ. How do you do that in the pandemic? How do you stay so I mean, I feel like you really affect people and you really are a positive supporter of all these causes. How are you doing it in this crazy time?
Um, to be honest, becoming an advocate and getting more involved with social justice was my form of therapy. It is what kept me sane. Because I luckily had the time, not luckily, but I mean, I wasn't working all the time. I wasn't auditioning all the time. So I had the brain space and the bandwidth to actually take in what was going on in the world. And I was tired of sitting on the couch and just reading about it and reposting. And I knew a lot of it stemmed for me was the urgency of the election. Um, because I knew that another 4 years of Trump would be disastrous for so many people. The amount of lives that would be lost would be horrific, and still are because I mean, just evidenced by, the recent mass shooting in Atlanta of Asian hate crimes. Like it's the seeds that he planted are still um, very present. And I didn't want to be the person that was just sitting and complaining. So it's for me, it starts with education, it starts with reading. And I was lucky enough to have been asked by Broadway for Racial Justice to become an ambassador for them. And I'm very new to the activism game, but I try to do what I can in terms of reading and going to protests and listening to meetings. I'm part of a coalition to end the new Jim Crow, which is an activist group based in my hometown, and we work towards police reform and also getting resources to people in the prison system. Because personally, I mean, this is just a me thing. I don't think prisons are useful. I think if you want to talk about cancel culture, that's the real cancel culture. We put people in prisons and we just forget about their existence.
100%.
Um, so that's a huge issue. So I'm still in the learning phase of advocacy, but I learned that if I have this platform and if I can affect some change, I want it to be for the good. And I don't want to be silent on things that matter because silence speaks volumes. It's very evident when it does. And we need people to step up. And I'm happy to have the conversation. And I know that I have not absolved of things that I've done or said and will do. And I'm a big advocate for accountability and calling out and calling in. Like, let's have the conversation and get better together because nothing's going to change if we just point fingers. But there needs to be a lot of work done. So it started with phone banking and it started with posts, but now it's balance. Trying to
It's interesting
yeah
because of the pandemic. Like I know that kids, especially when I say kids, I mean like young adult, like high school young adults. You know, they want to be they want to affect change, right? And they want to go to rallies, they want to go to protests. And I'm always saying I think there's more you can do with social media to help spread positive change.
yeah
Not everybody can go to a protest, whether it's health issues or whatever. But
right
um, I noticed that about you. I noticed that your presence is so positive and so it's powerful. And I think that I would love for you to maybe talk about, is it a conscious decision what you put out there, and how do you come about
yeah it is a conscious decision. I try to, before I, like, if I repost something, I will try to do the research to make sure that it is accurate information. I try to direct people to voices that I find to be more educated in certain areas than I am, because I think we need to amplify, the voices that matter on certain issues. I Yeah, because for me, I know some people use social media as a branding tool, which it is. Um, and that's fine. And you can post, like, I don't mind the people who just post pictures of themselves and on vacation or happy or with their spouse or what, like, that's cool. That's wonderful. But like my life, if you want to look into my life, this is important to me. Posting about what's going on in the world is important to me. Trying to affect change is important to me. And for some stupid reason, I have a certain amount of followers and people who actually listen to this nut job. So I might as well say something that's at least going to get the ball rolling in a certain direction. And like, it's not actually for my friends. It's actually for those people who feel lost, who feel like they're in rural Georgia and they don't have connection and don't have a family, or if they're queer and they don't have a support system, or if they're you know one of the only black kids in a very white community. Like, I have been told that sometimes what I post helps.
I think it does.
Simple as that.
And that's
And
really the reason I brought it up because, you know, I think that I kind of led you down that road. Like I know you do everything consciously. I know you think about what you do because that's the kind of person you are. But I think like with a younger generation and with it being so powerful, it's like it's basically their only tool for self-expression now.
yeah, yeah,
That you have really you make you make a great point, to be informed, to be, I just think it's really admirable.
thanks, I appreciate it. Still learning, still trying, but like, I think that's the point, is that it just, I feel like so much of the problem is that a lot of people just don't know how to have conversations about wrongdoing. Like, if we point out something that's problematic, people are like, I'm not a racist. And like, I didn't say you were a racist, but maybe the thing you said or did is racially insensitive. So let's examine that. Like, what is the big deal about not being able to even research reparations in this country? I'm sorry. Now that's a whole other. There are so many different soapboxes I could get on, but like, it's one of those things. Like, the more you look into it and the more you read about it, you're like, oh, we are like historically and epically effed.
Yeah, yeah.
Just,
It's just,
but
yeah. You're
the
absolutely
only way
right.
to, yeah, the only way to fix anything is to get at it from the root and and just like pull back. And that cannot be a personal thing. It's hard work, but it can't be taken personally, because when that happens, then it's just, then
Would
you
you
get polarized camps.
would you say that's the thing, one of the biggest things you've learned since your formal education? Like when we talk to our students about like gaining experiences, like it's your
Hmm.
experiences that help your growth.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
I know Michigan is an amazing school because
Yeah.
like all of the people that come out of it are ridiculous triple threats. They're ridiculous. I don't know what they're putting in the water over there, but I mean, it's happening, right? But there's this other flip side. Like when you left, what were the things that you were like, okay, I get it now. Like not just about
Oh,
the industry, but like actually maybe about the industry because I think you're in a bubble in those schools,
100%.
and then when you step out, what do you think?
Well, I think one of the things is the elitist nature of it. On the flip side of, yes, everybody who's from Michigan is fantastic and is great, but there's an accessibility issue there too, right? Like, because it's create has this clout as one of the best schools, they're able to get the best kids in the country to apply and to go. And some of them, but like, even what we do, musical theater is a privileged art form. Like, to get the training needed, and then the fact that like we as Michigan kids are recognized as being some of the best already, so that there, I am learning. This came up a lot with our decolonize this conference that we did with Broadway for Racial Justice. There is something that people call the Michigan to Broadway pipeline, um, and it is about like expanding awareness of where these students come from, and that like talent isn't concentrated to certain conservatories and universities. And like, yes, I have immense pride for where I went to school. I love where I went to school. I'm so grateful for the education I got, but I don't think it's better than anywhere, than what people can get elsewhere
That's
necessarily.
amazing that you said that because I think you're absolutely right about that. I think we have these amazing schools in the country, and we know what they are, right? There's probably that get name dropped all the time. And Paul Tierney
Yeah.
does a lot with his high school kids, with Berkeley School of Music and all Juilliard.
Yeah.
But it's also more about what you bring to the education and then what you
Exactly.
do with it.
Exactly. And to be completely honest, I don't think when I was in college, I didn't use the time as wisely as I would have liked to. I was so terrified. I was so terrified to try and fail in front of my classmates because I didn't want to be considered bad. But like that in and of itself prohibited my growth. So it wasn't until I left school that I was able to say, oh, I have to step up and just like allow myself to suck. I have to allow myself to suck for a bit to get better. I mean, and like right now, I'm taking this acting class. I haven't been in acting class in 5 years. I'm in an acting class where the whole premise is dare to suck. Like you have to just there is no way. Like you have to rewire the neural pathways in your brain to get better. And that was something I learned since going to school is that like we're always going to be getting better. And that's exciting. I love the fact that I can continue to evolve. I love that I will be better in a year from now than where I am today. Like that is so cool and it shouldn't be scary. And I think that I think right when out of school I wanted to be like, I'm hot shit. Excuse my language. I'm really cool. I'm this and that. I went to Michigan. I'm gonna book Broadway. And it's like, yeah, if you do that, great, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're the great like that your work is done.
Right.
And I think I've grown way more in the 5 years since I left college than I did when I was in college. But I think that was because I am now emotionally mature enough and in a place where I was ready for that. And I had put those limitations on myself. Nobody else had done that to me, but I had done that to myself for sure. So
those are like some serious jewels, like pearls of wisdom you just spit. I mean, seriously. What else? What do you want to ask her?
Well, really quickly, your social media thing is just so great.
Thanks.
It's really on a superior level. And for those of us, that are creators and getting into social media and stuff, do you have any advice for anybody for trying to build a social
media man. No, I don't know what I'm doing, to be completely honest. I post at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. No, I don't know. Like I'm not the influencer that has the tricks of the trade. I mean, I have a following because of the shows I've been a part of, and that's wonderful and amazing, but I don't know how to capitalize on it necessarily. The pages I like to follow, frankly, are the ones that are super authentic. Like I try to be, along with my social advocacy, and I like a healthy balance of like glam and just devastatingly terrible pictures.
Oh
like
God.
I don't.
We have so much glam here. Do you want to see this? Check out that light.
Oh my God! Look at that light. Yes.
I know. I just tore the curtain to show you that.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like I think it's important to pull back that curtain, to be like, yeah, I can dress up, but I also love living in sweats and looking like a trash panda. You know what I mean? Like we can exist. We exist in multitudes. Let's celebrate the multitudes. So I like those pages. I don't know if those get more followers necessarily, but like I don't. Be yourself. That's the bottom line, I guess.
Be authentic. Yes. So you said you were taking an acting class. Is it virtual or live?
Virtual.
And what are you doing? Are you allowed to say? Maybe you're not allowed to say.
Yeah, I don't know if I can say. I had to sign an NDA for it, but it's great. It's a great class. I'm loving it. We're doing comedy mainly. Like it's all TV film stuff, so it's a lot of fun.
Okay,
it's a lot of fun. It's great.
Do you have anything you want to plug, or is things just in the works? Like
yeah. I would really like to plug my bathtub because I can't take a bath in it at the moment. So that'd be nice to drop a bath bomb in there.
We'll be sending you bath bombs as a thank you.
Amazing. No, I don't have anything. Nothing coming up. But that's okay. I mean,
who does really?
Yeah.
Okay. So now the most important part of the interview.
Okay.
The serious questions.
Serious questions.
The serious
Okay.
questions.
We want to know what you've been binge watching
in the last year.
Now, I know you're an Olivia Colman freak, as am I.
Oh my God.
I am 100% sure you have binged The Crown. And if
Oh yeah.
not, okay. So, I mean, she's a freaking genius.
She's a freaking
Have you
genius.
watched The Father?
No, I need to watch that.
Okay, if you're gonna watch it, let me just warn you. You will be snot sobbing the entire time.
So I need like 3 bottles of wine and like a blanket and chocolates. Is that what you're telling me?
Maybe even a weighted blanket because you're gonna.
Oh wait. Okay, I'll get my gravity blanket out. I will do
exactly. that. Okay, so what have you been watching? What's been like keeping you, engaged?
Ooh, I have been watching. Okay, well, actually, recently my brother is home for a couple days, and so we have been. I was rewatching. He's watching for the first time. Extras, the Ricky Gervais show.
We love that show.
Obsessed.
It is.
Love that show.
I love uncomfortable humor. I think like his writing is also phenomenal. I mean, that I love The Office too, and The Office is one of my favorite things. Yes, I love Derek. Unbelievable. He's so brilliant.
He's so brilliant. No, he's ridiculously brilliant. And he is he's a horrible host for awards. But you also watch it because you know he's gonna be horrible.
Yeah, because he's like
he's a genius.
He's a genius.
Having a laugh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You having a laugh. Having a laugh. Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. That's a good one. What else I made? Oh, I just finished WandaVision, which was very fun.
So
Loved that. What else am I? I watched The West Wing at the beginning of the pandemic again for like the 3rd time. Love that show. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, went through that again. Super fun. Yeah. What else have I binged? The Boys, fantastic Amazon Prime show.
She can't do it. She can't do violence.
Oh, it is
It's super violent.
Yeah,
it's super violent.
I love it.
It's great. Yeah. Well, also like politically, it's one of the most brilliant things I've seen. Totally. What else? I feel like Maisel came out during the pandemic, right? And the last season came out at some point.
So good.
I rewatched Veep for the 50 billionth time because I'm in love with Julie Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah, no, I started Veep and then I let it go. I need to go back to Veep.
Yeah, it took me a couple times to get into it too, I will say. But like then I got obsessed, and I also watched that show because I think everything Julie Louis-Dreyfus does is freaking gold. So that's a lot of things I've been watching.
You and your brother agree on your types of shows?
Yeah, we for the most part, like we both love The Boys. He turned me on to The Boys. What else is he? We're watching Extras together. The Office, like we both love that. Yeah, we actually have a pretty similar taste. I would say that the one thing I did watch that he did it was Bridgerton.
Yeah. It was.
I didn't mess with that.
Let's just leave it at this.
That's okay.
It's adult.
It's adult. The one, you know what I am watching now, which I can't believe how long it's taken me? BoJack Horseman is great.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, I have heard about that. Wait, have you seen Ted Lasso?
No, I need to watch Ted Lasso. Everybody's telling me about Ted Lasso too.
I think you would truly.
Okay.
She looks at me. When we watch Ted Lasso, she just looks at me because I'm smiling the whole time.
Oh, I love that.
Like, this is incredible. It makes you feel so good.
It's a really, really good watch.
Good. Oh, and I can't forget RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yes.
Oh, you love that show.
I did binge the heck out of it.
I did too. I watched all of the seasons for the first time during the pandemic.
Yeah, 100%. Well, you're kind of on the same. Do you watch the Great British Baking Show?
Love Great British Baking Show.
Are you a Mary Berry or a Prue?
I mean, like I love a scrummy Mary Berry, but Prue's adorable. Yeah, she's adorable.
But I at the side of your mouth when Mary.
Oh yeah. Scrummy. I mean, and Paul. You know what I've loved? Paul Hollywood gets nicer.
He does.
He does. He totally does.
Yeah, he gets nicer and he like knows his Paul Hollywood-ness and he like amps it up. But anytime anybody gets a handshake, it's like, oh, it's so exciting. I was are you caught up on Baking Show?
Oh,
totally.
we've binged. Like,
Okay, good.
I've watched every season at least 3 times, but then we found the
American version. Well,
What?
It's Americans.
Wait, let me tell you
in
where
the
it
tent.
is. So it's on Hulu.
Okay.
And it's called The Great American Bake Off, but it's set in the tent in London.
It's in the tent. The same things, only it's Paul Hollywood. There's an American chef named Sherry.
She's
I can't remember her name.
James Beard winner.
Baby Spice is one of the hosts, and they got an ex-NFL player
named Spice.
Wait, you just blew my mind.
Yeah, you're gonna.
Is it
The Great
Is
American?
it as pure? Because I love how like.
I know exactly what you're thinking. You don't have to say a word. It is 98%. Okay, it's 95%
yeah, there's
pure. No, because what you love about them. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. What you love about them is they're British and they're kind and helpful.
It's the kind and helpful that they like so supportive and they just love to do it. They just love to do a bake for the sake of baking.
It's 95% that.
We watched an episode. There's a little bit more competitiveness with the Americans.
Okay.
So there's like when Paul Hollywood is shaking somebody's hand.
Yeah.
And they'll show somebody like getting upset.
Oh, interesting.
Who would, like, just cry.
That's very American. Yeah. Competition is very American.
Yes.
But it's good. It's like we needed it because we had gone through all the cycles.
Yeah.
And it was still you got to see it because the winner of the last show, so deserved it, and it was so.
I'm so excited.
Don't spoil.
I'm so excited. Thank you. Hulu. You just enlightened my life.
Hulu, The Great American Holiday Bake Off. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
With all your suggestions, I have taken mental note of what you're watching. Also, what are your quarantine necessities?
Oh, my quarantine necessities are my yoga mat, my headphones, my laptop, cause Zoom. I need a book on me at all times. I'm reading a book called Such a Fun Age right now, which is great.
I'm writing it down.
Yeah, Kylie Reid, it's great. What else what are my quarantine necessities? My cast iron skillet. I really got into cooking in the pandemic.
She loves the cast iron.
Wait,
it's amazing.
We have a constant debate. Which is better, the grill or the cast iron? And I believe the cast iron is better than the grill.
I don't have a grill, so I can't judge this, but like I love a cast iron. I will always side with a cast iron. Like a seared steak on a cast iron. Oh.
100%. Okay. Well, first of all, you've been incredibly generous with your time. You have any other questions for her? Because
I just want to say this is gonna break your heart. I came to the realization recently, and I'm living with this. Okay.
I don't know what you're gonna say.
I'm living in my truth. I really think I would be a Slytherin. I think I would be a Slytherin.
That's okay. I have a lot of friends who are Slytherins.
There are good people in Slytherin.
Such good people in Slytherin. Yeah.
I would be a Slytherin, though.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I think you're more of a Hufflepuff.
No, I'm a Slytherin.
That was a Slytherin reaction. Yeah. No to Hufflepuff.
I'm a Slytherin.
We are kind of geeking out because I told Paul, I said she's a big Harry Potter person. I went to London to go
to Leaves in Studios.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that too. Unbelievable.
And then we went and saw
her show.
Thank you.
In Britain, that's on a Saturday, so we saw part 1 in the day.
And
amazing.
When we first started dating IZZY, this because this past week was our 20th anniversary together.
Oh my gosh, happy anniversary!
We met when we were 11.
We met when we were 11. And I said, I bought him a Harry Potter costume, and I said, can we go to the movie dressed as wizards? And Paul was like, no. But now I think he would.
20s,
no, but now I think he would totally dress like a
I might dress like Snape or something.
Yeah. See?
Yeah. He's a Slytherin. I get it.
I get it.
Yeah. That's amazing. Oh my God, I love that
was
so
funny. I
much.
didn't know you were gonna do that. Do you have anything else you wanna? I mean, you're just. I could talk to you forever, but I know your
Oh,
life is booked up.
no, it's okay. I just want to say I love you so much. Thank you guys for having me. It was such a fun conversation. It was nice to reconnect.
We're so
Let's make some steak in a cast iron sometime.
110%. Yes.
Yeah.
So we
Amazing.
always sign off the same way.
Okay,
Don't hang up yet. Okay.
I won't.
We want to thank Izzy McCALLA for being amazing
100.
and 10%. For being not only an inspiration as an artist, but as an advocate for everyone in the world, for being generous and kind and honestly everything that I remember her being, even though it feels like a lifetime ago. She is truly one of the people that affected me most when I had the opportunity to work with her because she also has a hilarious laugh too. So we want to thank her for her time and her generosity, and we wish her nothing but the best. Anything else?
Thank you, Izzy.
Thank you.
Okay, we're signing off. I love you.
I love you too.
And we love you.